Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk all news, comics, and media related to the... On this 100th episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers Optimus Prime issue 24. IDW shares the release dates for their final issues of their Transformers comics, and Canadian cineplexes will be showing Transformers The Last Night for free. Today is Friday, October 26, 2018, and this is the 100th damn episode of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that's having a blast at TFCon. Except for me. Sad face emoji. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C. I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Fellow missing out on TFCon host, Mike, the most awesomest audio editor ever.
Damn straight. Joining you in this TFCon-less weekend.
Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, I am having so much fun.
You sound like it.
I'm exhausted, Charles.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian beast.
Oh, it's tiring, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's the best. Am I right, Jeremy?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. I mean, I don't even know what happened to Yoshi.
He's gone. He's just gone.
Yeah.
Let's talk Transformers, though.
I hate each and every one of you.
Even me?
No, I can't. You're right here.
Okay. All right. As always, we start off with new donations. And as we mentioned in the main show this week, Derek, friend of the show, was previously a regular Donatreon, has just bumped up to a duly appointed supporter of the Transmissions podcast. Derek, you are amazing. Awesome. I hope you're having fun with Jeremy, Daryl, and Yoshi at TFCon.
Oh, he is. Jeremy, do you remember what Derek said earlier today?
Oh man. It's not suitable even for an explicit
I know.
podcast.
Oh, my goodness. And then when he ran through the lobby, oh, my goodness. Like... I'm so glad I was able to catch that. I'm gonna have to burn my phone though. I can't even upload that. It's
I heard about that. That was in the news, wasn't it?
No. We couldn't have. We can't even speak about it. It's something that's just gonna have to stay between Jeremy and me and Yoshi and Derek. It's just insane.
Aww.
All right, let's get into the comics news. This is some sad news for everyone at TFCon because we've got information on the final issues of Lost Light, Optimus Prime, and Unicron. And surprise, they're late. They're going to be late. So we were hoping that these issues would be out before TFCon because they were all solicited for October. And it was, TFCon was the last weekend in October. So we thought, hey, you guys should probably get them all. But no. All these issues are delayed. So Lost Light number 25, I guess the good news is that Lost Light number 25 will be out in October on October 31st. So that's the current timeline for Lost Light. So look forward to that next week. But Unicron number 6 has been pushed to November 14th, which means Optimus Prime number 25 will be pushed back to November 21st because Optimus Prime is supposed to be the epilogue, so that has to be after Unicron number 6. So
I could have sworn they were supposed to be the same day.
Well, I mean, things could change. I mean, they
still could be the same day, I guess.
Yeah, they could both be on November 28th.
They'll be out for Christmas.
Weren't they all supposed to be done in September? Originally,
yes. They were originally because they were going to all double ship for 3 months and they were going to end in September. Then the double shipping stopped in August and they said they would stretch it out so that the books would end in October. Now they're getting pushed to November.
All right.
This is a clear call for digital only comics.
Well, I mean, I think for this in this situation, it is on the production side because Alex Milne was talking about just finishing the art on Unicron last week or 2 weeks ago. So I think
so we can't blame Diamond.
Yeah,
I still blame Diamond. for everything.
We kind of knew this was going to happen, though. I mean, it's not really a surprise.
No, but my surprise was fully sarcastic.
Gotcha. It's late. I'll pick up on that. Don't worry.
Yeah, so sorry for those looking forward to the end of the story. It's just going to be a few more weeks. But at least Lost Light, we'll be getting that pretty soon, hopefully, just next week. All right, and we also got the solicitations for January of 2019. So we're already into the new year with solicitations now. Because everything is over, there's not much Transformers related. Pretty much the only big thing is Star Trek versus Transformers number 5. So that is that crossover is wrapping up in January. We've also got the GoBots number 3, so that series is continuing. So that's another. Well, since Tom B. Long is doing everything there, that might be delayed as well. We'll see if Transformers versus G.I. Joe was any indication.
Tom Scioli.
Yes, sorry, I
Tom
not
B. Long.
Oh, sorry, Tom B. Long. didn't mean to.
He does a lot.
Didn't mean to confuse you there. Yeah, Tom Scioli, who he does, since he does the writing, the art, the lettering, the coloring, everything in the book on GoBots, which is what he did for Transformers versus G.I. Joe. It's probably going to go to a bi-monthly schedule. And then we've got the trade paperbacks for the last few issues of Lost Light and Optimus Prime. So Lost Light Volume 4, which collects issues 19 to 25. And Optimus Prime Volume 5, which collects issues 22 to 25. And those are both planned to come out in February. So they're in the January solicits, but actually the release dates are for February. And that's it. So nothing on the horizon for Transformers comics at the moment. So it's going to be a little bit of a wait before we find out what the next iteration of Transformers is going to be from IDW. And I might have we'll have a comment on that in the comic review that I'll mention. All right, and let's move on to that comic review.
Transmissions wouldn't be what it is today without the awesome support of our listeners. If you'd like to support our shows and enjoy the exclusive benefits that our donors get, please visit transmissionspodcast.com/support.
This week we are reviewing Optimus Prime number 24, A Sunrise Dark. Written by John Barber, art by Andrew Griffith and Sarah Peter Durocher, colors by Josh Burcham, letters by Tom B. Long, editor David Marriott, and publisher Greg Goldstein. So we have 3 covers. Cover A is Slug, formerly known as Slag, slicing with his sword. And that is art by Kei Zama and colors by Josh Burcham on that cover. The cover B is Slide attacking Jazz with the G.I. Joes getting caught in the middle, and then reporter, I think that's Sophia Orozco, the reporter from Channel 84 in the foreground. Actually, a lot more action in this cover than in the whole comic. This is art by Andrew Griffith and colors by Joanna LaFuente. And then the retailer incentive cover is the line art from cover A by Kei Zama. So, Daryl, which cover would you pick here?
Well, I picked the one that I bought. That's the Kei Zama cover. I thought it was very dynamic and action-packed, and I don't know. I think I've just about had enough of Slide, so I liked the cover A. So yeah, not a big fan of the Slide cover. Just I think my experience and of the Slide story kind of weathered that expectation, that feeling on that cover.
All right, Mike, which cover are you picking here?
I'm going with the other one. I'm going with Andrew and Joanna's cover there. I like the colors on it better.
Cool. And Jeremy, which one do you pick?
I am going for the black and white slag. I just think, I like the one with the colors, but something about just the K's art and the black and white I just really love.
All right, this is interesting. Everyone's got a different winner here.
We got a rare three-way split on here. So how is Charles going to vote to put this debate to an end?
So I am going to side with Daryl on cover A.
Woo! You son of a bitch.
Yeah, slag there, looking very dynamic.
I thought we were non-TFCon buddies.
I am also kind of tired of Slide. She's getting on my nerves after 25 issues of complaining about her dead partner. It's a little bit much. So, all right.
So you don't care about dead Transformers. I got you.
No.
Just that one in particular. All right. So let's get into the story. In LA, Thundercracker is putting the finishing touches on the final cut of his latest movie. But something outside has got his dog Buster worked up. Thundercracker comes to the window to see what's the matter, and it's a big problem. The form of Unicron fills the sky above the Earth, and the destruction of Earth has begun. Meanwhile, in Africa, at the Zambia-Zimbabwe border, Optimus Prime has recently returned to Earth to be confronted by his former acolyte and follower, Slide. She blames him and the choice he made for everything that's gone wrong on Earth, including the death of her partner, Euler, and her friend, Gimlet. Optimus Prime tries to tell her that he's been a little preoccupied with trying to save as many Cybertronians as he could from the certain death of Unicron. He tells her their only chance now is to all stand together against the monster planet. This only enrages Slide more, as she sees this as just another instance of Optimus Prime using people to get what he wants. Prime tries to change the subject and asks what happened at Mount Rushmore 6 hours ago when her team clashed with G.I. Joe. Slide reiterates that everything that happened is because Prime made a choice. 6 hours ago, Unicron had arrived on Earth, but he doesn't move to attack. He just floats, motionless, apparently awaiting for something. In orbit on their ship, Prowl and his crew are puzzled by Unicron's behavior. Star Drive has a theory based on her eons of solitude. Unicron is just waiting for the moment for all the Cybertronians, Earthlings, Elonians, etc. to unite together, so he can destroy them all at once. On Earth at Mount Rushmore, journalist Sophia Orozco and her camera crew has arrived to investigate the incident between Slide's group of rogue Autobots and G.I. Joe. At first, Spike isn't willing to let the press in, but Jazz convinces him that this isn't the time for secrecy. This may be Earth's final hours, and the people all over the world deserve to know what's happening. Spike relents and lets them in. In Africa, Optimus Prime is regrouping with all the people on Cybertron who were safely transported by the Visionary's magic to Earth. Before they can catch their breath, Soundwave tells him that he's detecting human and Cybertronian communication from Mount Rushmore. Optimus sends Soundwave, RC, and Rom to investigate. They arrive to find the aftermath of the conflict between the Autobots and G.I. Joe. Bump is still mourning the death of his fellow Eukaryon Gimlet, and Rom tells Jazz everything that's happened out in space. Rom explains that the monster in the sky, Unicron, destroyed not only his homeworld of Elonia, but Cybertron and all the other colonies as well. And now he threatens Earth, where all the survivors must make their last stand. Flint angrily confronts Soundwave to demand where Optimus Prime is, and that he must answer for the violence done by his Autobots. Slide also wants Slug to answer for the murder of her friend Gimlet. Rom tries to tell everyone that the threat of Unicron has to take priority over everything, but no one's convinced. Flint has lost good people to the Cybertronians' conflict. Soundwave senses something else from Flint, and he asks who else died in the latest conflict. and he learns that his human friend, the G.I. Joe tech mainframe, was also killed. Soundwave loses control in his grief and emits a powerful signal that overwhelms the ears and audio receptors of everyone in the area. And Sophia directs her cameraman to keep filming and broadcast it around the world. The profound expression of grief from a Cybertronian over a human's death persuades the people of Earth to work together with the Cybertronians to try and stop Unicron, just as Optimus Prime wanted. Slide sees this as yet another of Prime's manipulations of his friends and followers. She finally tells him that the choice he made was to do nothing and let his followers act on his behalf. His ultimate goal was to get everyone following his orders to become yet another fascist tyrant in the long line of tyrant primes. As she angrily storms off, Prime is left to consider her judgment. Jazz tries to assure him that they need to fight to save the next generation. Finally, Optimus shares a quiet moment with RC, contemplating what could be their last moments. He asks RC if she thinks Pyra Magna was right about him, and did he lead everyone down the wrong path? RC can't answer that and tells him all they can do now is try to love who they can and understand who they can't. Prime responds that they'll need more than love to save the day, but RC answers back that at the very least it can't hurt. Optimus Prime is left alone to consider his legacy as a Prime and how all the Primes before him failed their people. He vows to not do the same and to do everything in his power to save the lives of everyone left on Earth. To be concluded in Unicron number 5 and 6, and then in Optimus Prime 25. So, yeah, this is another filler issue. This is really, I mean, if you were looking for any kind of action to take place, this issue had none. So this was a pretty, I'd say, disappointing issue for me. We're just basically biding our time while all the action happens in Unicron, in the Unicron series. I mean, I understand there's a lot of, I guess that you get all the character moments tied up here. I mean, not really resolved, but at least, you know, a little bit more interaction between the characters. But that's what's kind of frustrating to me, is like we've had this constant nagging from Slide about the loss of her partner, you know, throughout the whole series from issue 1, and it never gets resolved. It just keeps hanging there over, you know, it's a cloud over the book, that, you know, this resentment that Slide has for Optimus Prime and the choices he made, and how, you know, that caused the death of her friends. And I'm just really kind of tired of it. It doesn't really seem to go anywhere. And yeah, it just feels like we could have just had the Unicron storyline and left this completely out. I mean, I just feel like this doesn't really add a whole lot to the story. So Daryl, I'm gonna throw it to you. I imagine you have similar thoughts.
It wasn't that exciting. There was nothing really happening. It was a lot of talkity talk, not a lot of punchity punch. So, I mean, the big bad is sitting there, and like you said, they're getting all the characters in one spot for Unicron. By issue 24, I expected a lot to be happening or have happened by now. You've mentioned that issue 25 is going to be the epilogue. So I expected a lot from all the series, with them ending, with the universe coming to an end. That is what we were told. In my brain, it translated to the universe is coming to an end. Everyone is dying. Now, sure, we don't know what's happening in Unicron number 6. We don't know what's happening in Lost Light 25 or Optimus Prime 25. We legit have 3 books left. Up to this point, I expected a much higher body count to have happened. I mean, I think on both hands, I can count the characters we've lost leading up to this. and it's not much. In all books, in all the books leading up to this that have died on page. So, there's a lot that have died off panel, and that's a pretty big body count. But the ones that we've seen die on panel, you can count on both hands. So I was kind of hoping that there would have been a lot more action, a lot more frontal assaults on Unicron. Something that would have ended up being a much more action-heavy end to these series. When we're sitting here and the end of the Optimus Prime book is staring us in the face, and we've got everyone is still alive, I'm a little disappointed. I kind of hoped that everyone, a large quantity of them would either be dead already or on their way to being dead. And not waiting for the Unicron book to kill them all off or do whatever the Unicron book is going to do. So I'm a little disappointed in how it's turning out. But as far as this particular issue goes, not a whole lot happened. Like I said, the slide is grinding on my last nerve. And I get it. You were a paired group with another character, and that other character is dead, and you're pissed about it, and you want somebody to pay. But look into the sky, man. Like, there's a fucking god there, and he's gonna kill everyone. You want Optimus Prime to explain to you why your pairing is dead and why it's okay that it's dead when you've got Unicron's gonna smash the planet and kill everything, Like, let it go. Like, priorities here. So, I'm a little done with Slide. But I don't know. I expected more out of this series and the other ones. Frankly, I've been really enjoying Unicron because it's really action heavy. And shit gets done in that book. I'm really looking forward to the end of it. I'm disappointed I got to wait until November now for it. So,
yeah, this is. I feel like the problem here is the main story is really in Unicron, and there's just not enough meat left to do anything in the Optimus Prime books. We're just left with filler issues in between what's going on in the Unicron story. Mm-hmm. So it's that makes for a disappointing book. For me, at least, I was not really looking forward to a lot of like main character deaths. I was just, I expected with the universe ending, I was, I'm kind of a sucker for a happy ending. So we've had a lot of death. We've had death on a cosmic scale here, even though it's, in comics, of course, these are all basically red shirts. But I'm not really looking forward to killing off our, the characters we know and love and everything. But we have had some significant ones, but you're right. It hasn't been too many, but
I was just like, they have the opportunity to kill like really main characters here. Yes, Optimus Prime has died like 4 dozen times. Like, I don't know. You lose count as to how many times this guy has died, but you can kill him here. And in this universe, he will be dead, like gone. Like, you can kill Megatron, you can kill some of these characters like that have never died. You can make some really interesting choices as to the life and death of these characters. Whether or not they're all going to die in the end or not, it doesn't matter. But you could definitively end, some character's story, in this universe, so that, it's just, a death of a character is just such a defining moment of that character's, story. Obviously, because it ends. But I I was hoping for a lot more of them. And when done right, a character death is so poignant, you know? So I was hoping for a lot more of those.
Yeah. All right, Mike, what are your thoughts?
I think this book or this issue is supposed to be that deep breath kind of before the big resolution, before the big battle, and it does kind of have that feel. But because Unicron is running concurrently with these issues, and we know what the ending is already going to be, it loses all the dramatic tension that kind of issue would have. Because all these character moments and everything like that, these are good moments, and these are good things that really help make a book, make a storyline. The problem is, again, it's since we know the storyline is how it's going to be end, or how that is going to end, and it's all kind of happening at the same time. You're losing all that. You're losing that tension. You're losing those dramatic moments, and yeah, I mean that's just kind of that. It is how it is what it is at this point. I hate to just keep on echoing Yoshi in this case, but you know, I'm kind of done with it as well, and mostly for those reasons. I wish that they waited until Optimus Prime and Last Light were either on the last month or had already finished up before putting out Unicron. And I know that marketing-wise, that might not have been like the best thing. Honestly, I would have not had a problem with it being a Unicron being just a graphic novel, a trade that's released at the end of these two series. It's like the final like big capstone for it. And again, it's just marketing at IDW at that point. You know, they want to keep on drumming up sales and interest. But I think that from a story standpoint, it would have turned out better if that was the case, if it was a capstone piece to these series. Artwork, yeah, I didn't have much of a problem with it. I've never been the biggest fan of the coloring style used in Optimus Prime. I much prefer the look of like Lost Light or Andrew Griffith's work on the cover. Not Andrew Griffith. Who was the colorist on this?
Josh Bertram?
On the cover, on cover B.
Oh, Joanna LaFuente.
Okay, yeah, hers. I much prefer that coloring style. And, you know, nothing on against Josh Bertram's work, just not the biggest fan of it. That's all.
All right. And Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
I thought that I don't know. I feel the same as Daryl and Mike in a lot of ways. Although, I mean, I did enjoy the issue just because I like the character moments. Although Slide is acting like a selfish teenager that can't get over their tiny little problem that's like the biggest problem in their world, yet there's obviously bigger issues for the grown-ups to deal with. And that's what I feel like Slide's argument with Optimus is all about. It's
the adults are talking now.
Well, yeah, it's like, you aren't paying attention to my huge issue. And Optimus was like, yeah, because I have this huge issue to deal with. And I am also done with Slide. It's, you know, as much as we've complained about Anode and Lug over on Lost Light, I would take them any day over Slide. At least they, you know, ultimately ended up doing something. But I mean, the rest of it, I liked a lot of the little character bits. I wish that this had been earlier in the series, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, Mike, with, you know, wanting to have like the series kind of wrapped up and then Unicron. I would kind of prefer to have them concurrent to a point, and then like the series seemingly end, have, you know, the last couple issues of Unicron and then the final issue drop.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but I feel like this is kind of meant to be the calm before the storm, but it just, I don't know, it seems like so much stuff has been happening and then it comes to a screeching halt. And it's just, I don't know. I kind of wish that at least something had happened in this issue. I mean, it obviously won't go anywhere, but I'm wondering if there would be any fallout from Thundercrackers revealing all this G.I. Joe stuff that I'm sure is classified in this movie. That I thought that was like the first thing that stood out to me during those first few pages. But other than that, I mean, the art for the most part I liked. I do feel like I'm guessing that the first few, like the pages that most resembled Kay's art is Andrew, and then the rest would be Sarah's. But it seems like the coloring, like where we see the lighter coloring, it just doesn't fit the tone of the book. I mean, I know it's meant to have a different tone, but like that scene where we first see all the Cybertronians and Metroplex, I don't know, it just seems like you're going from a dark scene to a super bright scene, and I don't know. I guess because they're on the opposite sides of the planet. I guess those are my jumbled opinions of the book.
All right, yeah, I didn't mention the art, but I'm really struck by how much the coloring really affects the tone of the artwork. Like Josh Burcham's consistent coloring style throughout the Optimus Prime comic really gives it a feel regardless of the artist. So it was interesting to see, like, you have Andrew Griffith and Sarah Peter Durocher. We've seen their art styles in lots of different books, but it really has a different feel here with the coloring, the muted coloring that Josh Burcham gives. And it reminds me of how he, with that first season of More Than Meets the Eye, how Josh had a particular coloring style that was really that really made that book stand out as well. Although it was a very different coloring style than the one that we have here in Optimus Prime. And Sarah Peter Durocher's art, and from Till All Are One, she was usually colored by Joanna LaFuente or Priscilla Tramontano, so you can really see a difference here in the artwork here with a different colorist. So that's really interesting. So those are our thoughts on Optimus Prime number 24. So let's move on to some Transformers media news.
Okay, in media news this week, Cineplex theaters in Canada are hosting a community day, which will feature Transformers The Last Night for free. This just in, Cineplex Canada has gone out of business. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so
it's still too much.
Yeah, if you are interested in going to see The Last Night for free, look into that. Because, hey, it's still a day out to the theaters, and your kids might like it.
So we got Transformers the movie last month.
But we had to pay.
Yeah.
It was in Canada,
I'd pay
too.
for that over seeing this for free.
It was in Canada, too. It just wasn't as widely spread as it was in the U.S. In Bumblebee movie news, if you shop at Walmart and you are looking for some Bumblebee movie apparel, look for Bumblebee's Garage Kids t-shirt. It's now available at Walmart. There's also a Hasbro X Alpha MA-1 Transformers flight jacket available online, plus 2 new variants announced. So if you like to buy flight jackets based on brands, then look into that. And we've got a new interview for Bumblebee with John Cena and Haley Steinfeld. So, no, stop it.
Stop
You
it.
said his name.
So take a look at that. And yeah. And lastly here, we've got some Cyberverse news. So Cyberverse Cyberverse up to episode 8 is available on Hasbro's YouTube channel. Now, if you are outside of America, a lot of these episodes are region locked, so you may not be able to watch them. Some of them aren't. Some of them are. I don't know why, but just be ready to not be able to see some. We've got episode titles, descriptions, and air dates for episodes 15 through 18 for Canada, because we're getting them way ahead of you guys in the US. So episode 15 is going to be called King of Dinosaurs. Episode 16, The Extinction Event. Those two will be available or will be seen on November the 4th. And then we've got episode 17, Awaken Sleeping Giants. And episode 18, Eruption, which is the season finale. And those will be on November 11th. So take a look for those. And this leads us into a little thing I'd like to have Charles kind of talk about, because last week we had a little bit of a discussion where maybe Charles didn't quite know what he was talking about.
Oh, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I still don't know what you're talking about. No, I will own up to this. Yes. Daryl was right and I was wrong. So we had a discussion last week about whether Canada was already ahead of the US in the air dates for the Cyberverse episodes. And I disputed that Daryl had already seen episodes 9 or had already gotten episodes 9 and 10 on his DVR. But he did indeed have those episodes, and he got them before we did. He even was very kind and gave us links to so we could watch them.
You mean he let us come over and watch them?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfectly
I drove to
legal.
his house 5 hours just to watch those episodes.
Yeah. Yes. So we're going to have Jeremy cut that out where you said that I was right and you were wrong, and I will go and have that just on my phone where I can play that and make myself feel better when I feel down.
It'll be your ringtone for when Charles calls.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have maybe a little discussion here, because we had now episodes 5 to 8, which you guys in the US have. Actually, I believe you probably got 9 today or yesterday.
No, we got eight today.
Oh, 8 today.
We only get one a week. So that's why we fall behind, because you get two every week. We only get one a week.
I thought you guys had got 9 this week, so that's
No, the one that airs on Saturday, Hasbro puts on YouTube on Sundays.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so you guys are at episode 8. We got 11 and 12 today, so we won't talk about those. Personally, I haven't actually watched them yet either, so let's just leave those alone. Let's talk about episodes 5 to 8, and then maybe 9 to 10, because those are available on Daily Motion. Shh, I didn't say it, but they're out there.
I think we should be mindful of spoilers at the minimum for 9 and 10, because I don't think.
Of course, yes, of course.
So.
But so episodes 5 to 8. What are your guys' thoughts so far of the show? We've talked from 1 to 4, so 5 to 8. Where are we at now? Getting any better?
I am still really enjoying the show. So I mean, we definitely still the 15-minute episode length is a little it's hard to deal with. You know, it just truncates the stories a little bit. But I think the chunks that we've been getting have been pretty good. I think we are like. I think the present day story is a little bit less interesting than the flashbacks. So you like episode 5 was very much a present day story. So that was less interesting to me than episodes 6 through 8, which were all dealing with the past. So I'm really liking the mythology they're building up here, where, you know, in the pre-war days, like Cybertron seems to be a kind of a thriving society before the Autobot Decepticon fallout, and the Autobots and Decepticons before they were called Autobots and Decepticons are very much intermingling and hanging out with each other. I mean, there's one episode where Bumblebee is remembering how he loved the sport on Cybertron Cube, the sporting event, and he's watching a game of Cube from the stands and sitting right next to Shockwave, and they're like hanging out and enjoying the sport together, which it's weird to see Shockwave just chilling and being just a regular guy.
Yeah.
So it's cool just to see like the mythology of the Transformers be explored in the cartoons in a way that they really haven't done that before, like show that much of pre-war Cybertron in the cartoons. So that's what I'm really enjoying.
I'm just putting the episode titles here in the doc so we can, kind of recognize them and kind of remind ourselves which were which. So episode 5 was Whiteout. Episode 6, Megatron is My Hero, which was actually kind of fun episode. Episode 7 was that one you were just talking about, Cube. Episode 8 was Terminal Velocity, which I thought was really kind of cool because they went to Velocitron, which huge IDW reference right there.
Although, wasn't it also one of the Unicron trilogy?
Yeah, but it was called the Speed. It was called the Speed Planet in the Unicron trilogy. So
yeah,
Margaret Scott gave it a better name in the IDW comics.
So
it's a pretty low bar right there.
But yeah, so I have to agree. Whiteout was a bit of a. It was fine. Megatron was my hero. I really enjoyed. Cube was also quite fun, and I love Terminal Velocity. Jeremy, where are you at on the episodes here? What do you think?
I'm enjoying it. I'm not going into this expecting Prime levels of, deep lore and everything that went into that show, but it's clear that these people are fans of the IDW continuity. So we're getting little bits and pieces here and there, and some of the later ones that I'm not sure if we're going to get into spoilers on those, but it gets more and more into like familiar concepts. I really enjoy Megatron in this, and the voice actor there does a really good job. I think I mentioned before, he's done pretty much almost every Star Wars audiobook. The guy's name is Mark Thompson. Like a good number of them he's narrated. So I've been familiar with his work, and just hearing him do a take on Megatron has been a treat.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm enjoying these. I'm kind of taking them for what they are. They're not the deepest stories, but there's something that I could probably watch with my kid when he gets a little bit older.
Oh, for sure.
But like Charles said, the 15-minute thing is just not that's not contributing to the fun much at all. But that's just how cartoons are going.
Mike, have you been watching this at all?
No, it's one of those shows that I've been really meaning to. It's just I haven't found much time to do it lately.
Okay.
I am very far behind on it, as in not started.
That's okay. You're only behind by like an hour.
2 hours.
They're 15 minutes apiece, so yeah, not even 2 hours. Yeah, so I want to touch on episodes 9 and 10 because, well, heck, they're available, and 10 particularly is incredible. We'll start with 9. We're not going to really get into spoilers here. We're just going to touch on some concepts, but episode 9 is entitled Shadow Striker and is essentially dealing with the character Shadow Striker and Bumblebee's relationship, or lack thereof, with that character. And you do get some really interesting dialogue between the two. You find out their history and how they know each other. Yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. Charles, Jeremy, your thoughts?
I really like this is a dark origin story for a kids show, the Shadow Striker.
Yeah.
Like once I saw where it was going after that, I was like, wow, that kind of marked it up a notch. It's a really neat story, and I enjoyed it, and it made Shadow Striker an actual interesting character to me because of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you basically get like she's set up as Bumblebee's basically arch nemesis, which is cool to give Bumblebee his own personal nemesis. And this, I think, this episode with Shadow Striker, it also is similar to the previous episode on Velocitron, because that was also a quite dark episode as well. I mean, you don't expect like a whole planet to basically contract this rust disease that's basically killing bots on screen, even like well-known bots on screen.
Yeah.
So that was very surprising in the Terminal Velocity episode. And the Shadow Striker episode continues to ratchet up the disturbing things with how her origin played out. So, yeah.
Okay, and then now we've got episode 10, which is entitled McAdams. And seeing this when we first saw the list of titles, the name McAdams harkens back to the bar that I believe it's Blur runs, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it goes back even further than that. Like, McAdams was introduced back in the G1 UK comics by Simon Furman in Target 2006, where I believe it was the first story that introduced the Wreckers. That's also where they introduced McAdams' old oil house. So this is deep. This is a deep cut that was continued forward in the IDW comics.
Okay, so I didn't know of its UK origin. So when I saw it, I thought, okay, they're taking a big, nod at the IDW comics here. This episode was all IDW nods. This episode was, to put it to a word, incredible for a show that was 15 minutes long. I mean, there's a GIF going around that you may or may not have seen of Soundwave dancing in unison with a couple Seekers. That comes from this episode. That's not IDW based, but you want to know where that's from? From this episode. This episode has some incredible story. And Charles and Jeremy, for guys who haven't seen it on your stream, but got the copy that I threw at you. What did you guys think, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, this was manna from heaven for me. I mean, this episode had so many references to the IDW comics, to backstory and lore, and I mean, also like that touching on that view of the pre-war Cybertron, where Soundwave's just a guy who likes to party. He's a DJ. He just likes to party and have music. Yep. Before he became an evil Decepticon. So it was interesting to see that. And even the character of McAdam. I mean, I don't want to say any more here, but I think that's also a reference to IDW that we can talk about in a couple of weeks. But yeah, this episode had everything that I could wish for in a Transformers cartoon in terms of the story.
Now, you'll have to let me know, but I didn't know if the character McAdam was a pre-existing character from anywhere, because I don't remember him from anything. But if it was something from the UK comics, then I'm fairly unknown to that. So is it something from the UK, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, it is like basically the backstory that Bumblebee gives in the show. That's the legend of McAdam from the UK G1 comics, that he's the proprietor of this bar, is this really old bot that no one really knows where he came from. And the rumors are that he's one of the original 13 Primes. Okay. But it was never established that he was. It was just like he's this enigmatic figure. But his bar was always a neutral place on Cybertron. Like all bots are welcome in his bar, but you cannot have any kind of fighting going on in his bar. The war cannot touch his bar. And cool. So that's the legend of McAdam's old oil house.
That's cool. Jeremy, what were your thoughts about episode 10 here?
I really enjoyed it. One thing I liked seeing was just the progression, as like you see they always start off with the exterior of McAdams, and you just see it get worn down, and then it just looks like it's pretty much closed. Mm-hmm. And we might need to talk offline about like suspicions about McAdam himself, but it was neat how he's clearly more than he seems. And then we also get during one of the 3 times we see them, Deadlock shows up.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's kind of, pure IDW. He was invented in the IDW. That was awesome. And it goes into the whole no fighting thing because Megatron comes in to prevent his defection from the Decepticons. And McAdam, enforces his no fighting rule.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they leave a huge hint as to the next thing that Bumblebee and Windblade have to look for. And I'll just leave it there. I really enjoyed this episode. These are, this is like pure lore crack.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll revisit episodes 9 and 10 when we do our next group of 4. So when 9 through 12 are available in the US, well, that's probably middle of December or so. Season will be well over and done with for me, but you guys will still be well into it. But yeah, we'll talk about that when it's available for you guys, and yeah, we'll talk about it and see how it goes. But yeah, that's it for media news here.
All right, let's move on to some convention news.
All right. Well, as many of you are at TFCon, hopefully you are listening to us while you're waiting in line, wherever you're waiting in line for. We have news that just announced that voice actor Arlene Banas, I am sorry, however I mispronounced that. She's going to be a guest at TFCon, and she is known as the voice of Carly Witwicky from G1. She will be there all weekend on panels and signing, I'm sure. Look forward to meeting her. I'm not sure. I think she's been at other conventions. I don't think she's been at any of them that I've been to, though.
I don't think she's been to a Transformers convention. Not that I've heard of before.
Looking forward to seeing her. And then also, this just came out as we were recording tonight. Keizama has posted a tweet saying if you're looking to buy any of her original art, like her original pages from the comics, she has a Google form to fill out and contact her via that form. She's asking for payment via PayPal to make things easiest for everybody. So we'll have the link in our show notes to the order form, and it looks like you give her the page you want, and assuming it's still available, she'll let you know how much it costs. Last thing I want to mention here, we mentioned this in the other show, the Autopod Decepticast podcast is going to have a panel on Sunday called Dissecting 1986, The Transformers the Movie, 1 minute at a time. And it's going to cover their favorite moments in the movie, and they're going to have trivia-based games for prizes. So that looks to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping they have a great panel, and we'll definitely be talking to them throughout the weekend. So that is it for convention news.
All right, and we're running a little late, so we're gonna end things here. We'll get to a little bit of feedback in the coming weeks. Probably not next week since it's TFCon, but we'll come back later. But keep sending in your notes and messages and everything. We really do appreciate that. So that'll do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Enjoy TFCon, everyone. And say hi to Jeremy, Daryl, and Yoshi. Not me, though. Not Mike.
Or me.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.
TFCon! Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Recording. Test.
All right, we did it.
Yay.
Do I have lines? Yes, I
been
have
hit.
lines. Glorious lines.
Hello.
It's all been hit.
Let me move the cursor off the record button. There we go.